Well, let's just dive right into this explainer, shall we? Today, we're intercepting a rather dark transmission from the cosmos. It's a grim Gothic fable about logic taken to its absolute devastating extreme. Now, to really grasp the philosophical depths of our source material, I want you to imagine my voice echoing from the void as our subject. I am Sinos, the last thinker. And this is the story of my descent from logical perfection into the absolute silence of a dead kingdom.
Here is my chilling confession to you. My kingdom is now nothing but a beautifully designed tomb. You see, I built this. I engineered it flawlessly. Let me guide you through my tragic monologue of absolute control, and I'll show you exactly how the pursuit of a perfect sanctuary became, well, a self-imposed prison. To understand my ruin, you really have to understand my origins. I am Sinos, the Pale Architect. I was forged in the cosmic mind as a hyper-rational entity. I viewed all of existence through this incredibly cold, detached lens of extreme logic. You know, watching stars burn out and flesh wither, it inspired in me an overwhelming, deep-seated terror of natural decay, a real cosmic dread of impermanence.
My birthplace, the cosmic mind, was a realm of absolute logos. Picture it like a flawless, geometric web of light. Now imagine the pristine, unyielding symmetry of my home clashing directly against the messy, unpredictable biological reality of organic life. I was born into perfect symmetry, right? So naturally, I demanded that the rest of existence conform to that exact same geometry.
And that brings us to the core philosophical conflict of my existence, perfectly captured in that ancient Nietzschean dichotomy. On one side, you have the Apollonian logos, order, rationality. This was my absolute domain. But on the other side, the Dionysian, the unmapped dance of decay, chaos, and wild freedom. In my Apollonian pride, I looked out at the universe's erratic beauty and I declared war on the Dionysian. I actually believed its messy decadence was a flaw, something that desperately needed to be cured. To you, those born of the clay, the stars are poetry. But to me, they were a disease of burning gas and entropic waste. I looked at the night sky with just arrogant disgust. I literally saw it as an insult to logic. My initial hubris was believing that I, the Pale Architect, could somehow cure the universe of this erratic, dying beauty. But as you might guess, this led me directly into the trap of absolute rationalism. I'll confess it to you now. I actually thought that by stripping away the unpredictable, I could elevate all of existence to a state of eternal, unyielding truth. I wanted to replace the messy pulse of life with a rigid, logical cage of stasis. But here's the thing about logic. When carried to its absolute conclusion, it's a sharpened blade. And eventually, it severs the neck of the one who wields it. This very hubris built the specific architectural horrors I designed. They're monuments to my failure, really. The forest, the sculptor, the scholar, the king, and the god. Let's examine how absolutely every attempt to impose absolute order resulted only in destruction. Take the scholar, for instance, whose story is woven right into the fabric of my regret. In his quest for a perfect library of one word, he basically slaughtered the soul of expression just to gain the perfection of the void. And honestly, that was merely the beginning of the end. Let's look at the forest and the sculptor. I observed an architect who, absolutely terrified of falling leaves, poured a flawless diamond foundation over a forest, replacing all the trees with iron pillars. Sure, no leaf ever fell again, but no seed ever sprouted either. Then, a sculptor, driven by this cosmic dread of his muse aging, encased her in a sarcophagus of pure diamond. He literally froze a breathing woman into a static object. Because you see, control is a form of death. To freeze a thing just to save it is the ultimate act of destruction. Fearing the treachery of emotions, a clockwork king replaced his subjects' hearts with gears of gold and silver. He achieved absolute predictability, for sure, but his people, they lost all capacity for empathy and art. Now think about this for a second. This cosmic fable is no different than the architectural failures of your real-world authoritarianism. When a regime trades human empathy for absolute security, the attempt to engineer a perfect society results in only one thing: a dead kingdom of hollow automatons. Then there was the god who looked at the chaotic, stormy sea. To protect his sailors from the danger of the waves, he turned the entire ocean into a solid sheet of glass. And hey, no ship ever sank again, but no fish could breathe either, and the world just parched beneath a frozen surface. He realized far too late the absolute necessity of chaos, because without the structural danger of the waves, the spirit of the world had absolutely no medium in which to move.
Now let's shift into the philosophical machinery of my ruin, using the Fichte dialectic. Think of it like this. On one side, we have the thesis. That's the ego, representing me, the last thinker, demanding that the universe conform to my internal geometric order. On the other side, we have the antithesis, the non-ego. This represents nature, decay, and chaos, which naturally pushes back and resists my imposition. So my drive for total engineering was constantly at war with nature's chaotic resistance. I desperately sought a synthesis, but it was a false synthesis. First, my ego demanded absolute order. Second, I perceived the non-ego, that messy medium of life, as a disease, so I completely crushed it to preserve my control. Which brings us to the final reality, step 3, the dead kingdom. Because I completely annihilated the non-ego, I destroyed the very medium of life itself. I won the battle, right? But I absolutely lost the war.
The result of this false synthesis is a horrifying clarity, stagnation that is completely indistinguishable from death. I successfully encased the world in my perfectly engineered logical cage, and the order I achieved, it's absolutely flawless. But the devastating irony here is that because there is no life left, there is absolutely no one around to witness this perfection. So I have to pose this climactic question directly to you. Can true life and real free will even exist without the structural presence of danger and unpredictability? This was my tragic Fichtean realization. In my pride, I actually believed my cosmic cage was a gift. I thought it was offering salvation from decay. But I see now that without danger, life itself simply ceases to be.
Let my ruin serve as a warning to you. Order without freedom is the ultimate failure of the spirit. A universe without unpredictable change, without the messy, unmapped spaces of language, art, and nature, it's merely a graveyard of hollow automatons. The fear of decay is what drives tyranny, and that very tyranny extinguishes the soul it claims to protect. As the final star flickers out within my lattice of reason, I'll leave you with this thought. I have built a tomb for the cosmos, and I am its only inhabitant. The silence is my only legacy. I engineered perfect security, but the cost was existence itself. So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want you to really ponder that terrifying cost. When we try to control absolutely everything, what exactly is left to save?